Well, Erica, as high school students approach finals, acing the final exams may be on their minds. And for some, as much as they study, a good grade can be hard to get. But a local author has some tips for you or your student. You can all put them to use. In his book, Professor Paul Hughes joins us this morning, and you have a very specific book, Change Your Grades, Change Your Life. Tell us a little bit about this book.
It's a book that details some information that I actually learned from my students. Okay.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Oh,
you
yeah.
learned from them.
Teachers can learn from students, and I learned something very important. What I learned is that there are a certain amount of students in every class who are otherwise good students, meaning they show up for class, they do their homework, they study hard, but for some reason they do poorly on exams. And I had one student in particular several years back who was the profile of that student. But when I corrected her midterm exam, she got a 67. And I wondered why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. So I got together with her after the next class, and I sat down with her and I said, tell me what you think about before you take an exam. And she started telling me. She said that she'd get nervous, that when she studied very, very hard, but she had trouble remembering what she studied. And when she went through 4 or 5 of these things, she had negative thoughts and emotions about exams. And modern behavior psychology understands that thought creates outcomes. So she wrote all these I wrote all these negative things down, and then I turned them around into the exact opposite outcomes of what she was suffering from. And those are actually in the book. So, for example, some of the statements she read each day is, why do I feel so relaxed and comfortable when I study for exam? Because she didn't before. And then she would read, why do I remember most of what I study? Why do I focus so well? Why do I feel relaxed and comfortable when I take an exam? Why do I trust the choices of answers on exams? And I said to her, just read these a few times a day. I said they will reprogram your negative thoughts into positive outcomes.
It's all about mindset.
We actually, in class or out of class, we program our own behavior by our self-talk. What happens is, and I'm an example of this, I was poor in math. I was a good student, but I was poor in math through my whole life. I only figured out a few weeks ago, after having this in the back of my mind, why it happened. My dad was poor in math. He went through flight school, he was poor in math, and I admired my dad. So I obviously believed that I wouldn't be good in math, and I sucked at math.
Wow.
And that's the way it works, okay? But the technique is one that creates the positive outcomes. So we can either program ourselves for success in class or anything else, or we can, or for failure.
And really, it seems like this lesson goes beyond just grades, hence the change your life too. You can do this if you have to, if you have a big presentation coming up at work and you say, oh, I'm just not good at public speaking. I always clam up and I always get nervous. It seems like this might be able to help.
It works on anything. It works on anything. But I'm particularly sensitive to the students. We all remember when we were in school, that vulnerable stage of life. I'm teaching millennials between the ages of 18 and 25. They're a future of America. And they know, and a lot of them succumb to the pressure that is put on them for exams. You get good grades, you've got choices of colleges, you've got good self-esteem, and all the rest of it. You get poor grades, and particularly these kids who have grades for something that's out of their control, it's these negative emotions, they get judged very, very unfairly. And so the biggest outcome of writing the book and the students using this technique is not so much getting the good grades. Every one of them that I talk to afterwards, their self-esteem changes, their confidence changes. I've even had a couple of students who had mild physical disabilities that got better as their grades got better. Wow. Because their self-esteem went up, that mind-body connection type of thing. And I'm sensitive to it because we all go through it. And the fact of the matter is that this is the future of America. So for as many more students as we can give this technique to, it's important.
And Paul, we're out of time, but I want to just really quickly mention, where can people get your book?
It's on Amazon.
Okay.
It's got 5-star reviews, and they can also go to www.changeyourgrades.com.
All right. Thank you so much for being with us. Appreciate it.
You're very welcome. Enjoyed it.
Coming up next for you here on Good Day Connecticut.